The latest from our daily newsletter at podnews.net. Who invented the word podcast? Who made the term popular? Our history of the word podcast contains audio, quotes, and a full timeline, including this, the first time that the word podcast was used in a podcast.
But what I'm doing right here, and what Adam's doing, and what Dave Weiner's doing, and what IT Conversations are doing, that's podcasting. I think that is the term. I am using that from here on out, so I am a podcaster. And they are podcasters, and I am podcasting right now. And you listen to my podcast. God damn, that's a good term.
You'll find our history of the word podcast linked from our show notes and our newsletter today, and that was a clip of Dave Slusher. After announcing that it was to close after allegations of deceptive conduct, Ozy Media CEO Carlos Watson has told NBC that it isn't going to close. After all, the company produces a number of podcasts. Jamit calls itself a new social audio platform that's the BET of podcasts. It was inspired by the Apple podcast charts, being, quote, dominated by shows featuring white hosts. It launches into public beta today in Lagos in Nigeria. Music streaming platform Deezer has acquired a stake in Drift, a live streaming company. Jonathan Charak has been appointed as Libsyn's new chief financial officer. He replaces Richard Hayes, who resigned in May. And UK media expert Matt Deegan takes a look at the Apple podcast subscriptions chart that we published last week. He suggests it demonstrates that the subscription functionality is just not being used that much at the moment by content creators or consumers. And one reason why, he suggests, is that subscriptions are proprietary to each platform. And thank you to Libsyn and Libsyn's Advertisecast for becoming gold supporters of Pod News today. For 17 years, Libsyn has been helping podcasters reach audiences everywhere. It's great to have your support for our independent journalism. And you can support us too at podnews.net/support. And in podcast news, How I Work has joined ARN's iHeart Podcast Network Australia. Hosted by Dr. Amantha Imber, it explores the working days of some of the world's most successful innovators. The show was with Acast. Paranormal and true crime podcast And That's Why We Drink is going on the road for a 15-day run of North America. We'll link to the dates today and where to buy tickets from Friday. A Little Bit Culty has been signed by Acast and returns for a second season later this month. Hosted by former members of a cult, it was with Buzzsprout. Everything you think you know about Jack the Ripper, a notorious killer in London in 1888, is wrong, according to Bad Women, the Ripper Retold. New from Pushkin, this podcast reframes the victims and the killer himself. Hosted by historian Hallie Rubenhold, it launches today. And Belle Makes 12 is Meet Cute's newest rom-com series, with music from Ellie Goulding's album Brightest Blue. Meet Cute claims to be the first company to narratively integrate songs and musical artists into a scripted rom-com podcast. And that's the latest from our newsletter. For all the links, we're at podnews.net.